How do we know when to pause, push on, or when to change direction entirely? It's a big question, but it's an important one. Because often in business, we are faced with this question in various different guises, and knowing the signs, solutions, and where to go when we are feeling that struggle is really key. It's key to success, joy, fulfillment, innovation, so many things. So we're going to crack into that question today. And I'm Suzy Sanders. I'm the entrepreneur that's not afraid to ask the difficult questions or listen to the answers. And today we've got franchise recruitment expert Ed Purnell. Now, I've had the privilege of knowing Ed for many years, and Ed helps ambitious entrepreneurs, franchisors, with their recruitment process, fine-tuning and amplifying their growth. Ed is also a podcast host himself, so I am sure he's going to put me through my paces today. And there's a few other things that you're involved with as well, Ed. I know you're a contributing writer for Elite Franchise, a director for the Franchise Innovation Think Tank. So, Ed, what else have I missed?
Social events that I hold as well, like 3 times a year for the franchising industry. But podcasts of my own. I've got 2 at the minute. So loads of different things.
Loads of different hats. Well, thank you for making the time to chat with us today as well. We always have a big purposeful question theming each episode, and I'm really curious to crack into this one together today. So,
Okay.
Ed, let's go straight into the good stuff. How do we know as business owners when to pause, when to recalibrate, when to change direction, when to stop?
I thought I was going to have to ask the question of you, and you were going to give me the answer. To be honest,
I will.
I don't know. It's a difficult one to answer, isn't it? Because that's it's not a one kind of answer solution to it, other than in some ways trust your gut. I think I've been trying to think of kind of examples where maybe I've had to do anything like this in terms of in my own business journey, and I think the one thing for me is making sure I just focus on the right things, so on when to stop with certain things, because early days my business started off with a podcast first, got lots of connections, and then decided that there was a better way to help these franchisors to get the word out there about franchising. And then everybody's got ideas. When you're speaking to people on a weekly basis who are entrepreneurial, who've got their own businesses, have been successful, and they're suggesting, you should have a go at this, you should do this, you should do this. It's very easy, especially for someone like me who gets distracted easily, to go, oh yeah, the shiny thing, that's interesting and exciting, let's go and do that. So that's kind of the early lesson I learned. There's a few people that said, you just sometimes need to pick a lane and stick to it, because you'll just get spread too thin. And I knew all that advice, and I still did it anyway. Even whilst trying to hold myself back, I still went too broad and thin. And it wasn't until sort of a couple of years in, really, where I sat down and just went, right, I need to actually focus in on what it is that we actually do here. That's probably one bit I would say. Have you ever experienced that at all? That kind of distraction and chasing too many different things at once?
Oh, 100%, Ed. I am a magpie, always chasing the shiny thing. But you've said such key things there. Firstly, there's no simple answer, is there? There's no
No.
There's no one thing that will work in all scenarios. I love that trusting the gut has come up so early in our conversation, and we'll come back to that perhaps. But also, I think sometimes knowing that we don't have to have it all figured out, but also I know I learn best when I feel the pain of fucking up.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
So what's that pain feel like for you, like at that moment?
Well, I think it depends, doesn't it? Because I think as business owners, as entrepreneurs, there will always be challenges, right? We're always going to we're going to face something we either haven't experienced before or we have experienced before but perhaps didn't get it nailed that time. So I think for me, like, that pain or that discomfort is a sign of growth
Hmm.
first and foremost. But for me, I think the pain of making mistakes is just, it's not a nice feeling. Would you agree?
I'm trying to think of an example or a time where I felt really bad and had that pain, but I think that's probably back when I was employed. Really, you feel
Mm.
that more than being. I felt it more than being self-employed. So I think there's big mindset shifts happened at some point where I was like, okay, well, mistakes are going to happen, and it's just that's now a challenge. And actually, I kind of enjoy it. Like, how can I best remedy this, or how can I fix
Yeah.
this? I guess the worst things that I do nowadays is um, I do a bit of video editing as part of the work we do at the franchise. I can get head down in that and forget to turn up to a meeting, or the thing doesn't pop up, or I don't see it pop up. And yeah, I had it the other day. Luckily enough, there's somebody I knew really well, and we just laughed about it. But that's my worst feeling, is letting someone down in that way. But other times, I don't know. I don't. There's not been too many where I felt really awful. Normally, it's right. If we haven't done something right, how can we remedy it? How can we make it a good experience or a good touch point for the other individual? So it turns into a almost an interesting challenge, a way to develop and improve. You know.
Yeah, 100%. And that it's interesting, isn't it? That switch from employee mindset to entrepreneur mindset, and it's a huge thing. But I suppose you mentioned there very generously about when you'd been spread too thin, which I think is something that I'm going to put my neck on the line and say every business owner can relate to. Um, so, what are some of the things that helped you when you were realizing, oh, okay, I've got distracted, I've tried this, I'm doing too much? Like, what were some of the things that helped you kind of fine tune back into where you wanted to be?
So not a lot to start off with, and then I said that I was gonna be focused and do this, and then I started losing opportunities that I thought actually could be interesting, and I kind of just yeah, went back to saying, okay, yeah, I'll do that then, just to get my foot in. But the the thing that I needed to go back and reevaluate and kind of just remind myself of was going to that very beginning that every business should do. What is the why? What is the mission? What are your values? And then make your decisions based around that. You know, at the end of the day, it's I feel like I talk about it all the time, and I know I'm being guilty of not following it myself. But you look at the businesses that do particularly well and survive for a long time, and they've all got that. They've all got a direction they're all pulling in together. You know, even if it's you're an individual, if all of your decisions are pulling in one direction, if you've got contractors, you know, you're making sure they're pulling in that same direction as you. Yeah, it all starts to make sense. So yeah, I just sat down and went through that piece of work. It's very difficult to do on your own, I think. So sometimes it's so I spent £500 on somebody else, which might not sound like a big amount to a lot of people, but to me at that time it was. But yeah, I just spent that money because I knew actually in the long run it was going to make a big difference. And the work I did with this person, Jodie, you know, it changed the business really for me for the better. It's stuff I already knew how to do, right? I've done it already for loads of other brands, but when it's you on your own, it's much more difficult to force yourself to do it. You put a bit of money in, you've got some skin in the game, and you've got someone to guide you as well to challenge what you're saying as well. It just makes a bit of a difference. So yeah, that's what I'd recommend, is just find someone that you can just work through that in one hit. Yeah,
Yeah.
and get it sorted.
I'd agree wholeheartedly as well, because you're right. Like, coming back to that why, that purpose, that point. Um, I'd agree. It can be so difficult to do that yourself. And I'm curious, Ed, why do you think that is?
Why is it difficult to do it yourself? Uh, I don't know. Some people would say it's getting distracted, but I think a lot of the times it's kind of just down to the feeling of pressure to make money, isn't it?
Mm.
I don't know. Would you feel like that as well? It's you've got to make the money. You've got to keep the business sort of churning on that side, and those other things don't feel like direct money earners.
Yeah, I think that's an incredibly eloquent view. I think that I mean I'm the same, and I've spoken to so many brilliant business owners who agree with us in that sense more than I've spoken to people that are like, no, working on the business is easy. Um, but I think it is. I know my experience. Coming back to that why, the vision, the purpose, the values, I found it hard in the past because I got busy, and actually serving people is really important to me, and you get stuck on that hamster wheel sometimes, don't you, of serving clients, and there's a pressure there, making money, reputation, doing a good job. There's so many different pressures, aren't there, that are feeding into this busyness, and actually taking a moment to pause and go, how is the business serving me, you know, as well, is tough.
So how do you do that today then? Like, how do you put time aside, or how do you find time to work on your business?
Ooh. Good question. I have to make time because I realised that that time was the most important work a long time ago. So I have scheduled protected time for business development. And the way that my brain works is I need that structure of that time, but I don't need the pressure of an agenda. I do a lot of my work solo now, but I do lean in on support more intervals that are helpful. I don't need accountability. I'm very self-motivated, very disciplined, and I'm in the habit now of doing that. But I think for me, it was scheduling the time and knowing how I work and not making it a chore. But every single opportunity I will look out for to remind me of my purpose and the point. And we've got a pretty strong kind of purpose statement, if you like, for Alchemy. And that is that we are committed to grow together so that no one has to choose between their family and their work. And that is something that encompasses the work we do with our clients, with our franchise partners. That encompasses why I started the brand almost 10 years ago. And I remind myself of that at every single opportunity. So, for example, I'm running through some franchise launch training at the moment. Every single session, we start with our vision, mission, values. You know, every single start of every session, we talk about our values, we talk about how we're embodying them. You know, because it's so important. It's so important. I feel like I went off on a massive
No, no,
tangent,
no.
Ed, and I
It
don't know
makes
if I
sense.
answered your question.
So I'll tell you why I was asking it. So I think a while ago I set out and put, once a month or every Friday I was going to do half a day working on the business or something. And then, of course, you get busy and that just kind of slowly gets deleted and deleted week by week until it doesn't exist in your calendar anymore. So I was having a conversation with someone the other day and I was like, yeah, I've actually just got to schedule it out. And then, yeah, so I've done that. But now I'm thinking I don't want to lose that though, because my plan is to make a bit of a day of it. So I'm excited for the day. So I go out to a coffee shop and sit there and do the business, work on the business stuff. So it's a nice treat, day out, that sort of thing. And if that day gets taken up by meeting a friend or another business owner where we just share a drink or something like that and talk through business stuff whilst getting to know each other, that's all good. That can go into those days as well, because that's still in some ways working on the business, not necessarily business development in the sense of they're a client. I just mean as a, just almost entrepreneur therapy, just like someone else to chat to about business stuff and how crap it can be at times, right? So yeah, how do you make sure that time is totally protected, because it's very easy to not
Oh,
protect it.
it really is, and I think it like it comes to knowing yourself and knowing how you work and what you need. And I think accountability is a big thing. Like, not a lot of people like accountability, but as you say, having a business buddy or having somebody that will hold you accountable for what you've said you're going to do. For me, the thought of going away for a day and working on the business is way too much. Like, I've got two young children. I'd get bored focusing in a day on the same thing, even if it was something I was really passionate about. So for me, I have little chunks on a weekly basis that I know can fit into my schedule and that I've got that excitement and that commitment for. But I think accountability is key, isn't it? Whether it be a business buddy or a friend or a partner or someone, just saying to them, hold me accountable for this. And I think that's one of the things that people get from coaches or consultants, or, you know, if they're paying for that, you know, you've got another session coming up, you're more inclined to get the stuff done. But you can have that accountability without having the cost if that's not right for you at that moment in time. Would you agree?
I don't know, because I haven't done it that well.
Well, I think knowing that someone's gonna
Yeah,
check in with
I
me
get
is key.
I get the concept. Yeah, I used to have it in employment and didn't enjoy it. Actually, found it restrictive in certain senses, because I might have a train of thought or an idea that was better, and then they're like, you also need to do that. So then you're trying to cram it in, and you don't do it so well. I don't know, but I do get it. I get the concept, and I think it is valuable. Yeah, I'm probably just one of those people that doesn't like it so much. But I think maybe what I need is not so much that boss figure. Perhaps it is, like you said, I hadn't thought of it before, but doing it with a friend, or just both an hour or so having a coffee, and then just going through and sort of saying, right, I said I was going to do this, I didn't do it, I'm feeling a bit crap about that, so I'll do it next week or whatever to get it done. That could probably help.
And I think it's about being a little bit gentle and kind to yourself as well, because, you know, experience tells me this is a common
Yeah,
challenge. And you're absolutely right. Like, when I think of like my reviews that I used to had when I was employed, and it was just like, oh, it was not a help. It didn't feel like a helpful thing to me at the time. But again, we work in our own ways now, don't we? We have our own business. We make the choices. We have the creativity, the autonomy. Like, work with that, but also recognize, because I realized I stopped a lot of business development work a few years ago because I felt like I wasn't getting anywhere. And then I was just feeling rubbish because I hadn't done what I said I was going to do for me. And then I was like, I'm just going to stop because I feel rubbish about it. And it's like recognizing that life does get busy. Our business will always demand different things from us at different times. So it's like having a little bit of compassion at, like, I've got the intention. I know it's valuable. It's not worked out this week. So what? We'll try again.
when you say business development, do you mean? Oh, yeah, what do you mean by that? Because to me, that means a different word from the world that I've come from. So it'd be interesting to know what you mean by business development.
Probably, and I keep it quite broad. So for me, that business development time is quite simply where my focus is going on developing my business. Now, that's not necessarily bringing new clients or new sales in. That is looking at my business, starting with the why and the
Yeah.
point and the purpose, and looking at it holistically as a whole. So I do also consider myself in that as well. Business development time. Do you know what? I'm exhausted this week. I need to make sure I'm top of my game. So I look at it very broadly. How am I developing my business? How am I connecting with my business? And I keep it quite that way. And then I look at like stats, data, that kind of thing separately. But again, that's what's helpful to me.
Yeah.
What's your take on business development time?
It's a bit, well, not business development time, but business development has always, as far as I've been aware, sales focused, all about the sales. But actually, when you said it a few times so far, and listening to the word, actually, business development isn't just about. I mean, this is what I used to do: bash the phone, send out marketing emails, that sort of thing. it's actually all the other stuff, isn't it? It's
Yeah.
developing the elements within your business that then will make you more successful. So yeah, I quite like that different take on the phrase business development, because
Yeah.
yeah, to a lot of people it's just sales, like
Yeah.
literally
And
just
we used to both, you and I used to work in recruitment companies as well, and particularly your work with franchise recruitment and business developments, picking up, hitting the phones, isn't it? Like that's what
yeah.
historically it meant to me, and it was a very salesy thing. So I think actually you've made me aware just now that that's something that I've kind of owned and changed and
Yeah,
redefined
it's
that
nice.
made more sense to me.
Does make more sense. I mean, there's bits within that business development that I already do. So having a podcast is a way to develop the business in some way, to develop my knowledge and understanding of the world, as well as getting the voice out there and all that kind, helping franchise and all that kind of good stuff. So there's different things that come into that business development piece that isn't just like there's a group that I'm a part of. They're called the Creative Collective, and a lot of the guys in there, they talk about networking one-to-ones and business cards exchanging and calling people up and cold emails. And I'm like, how long ago? 3.5, 4 years. I haven't done a single bit of old school business in my head. The old phrase, business development. I haven't done cold calls. Marketing emails is something I need to do more of, but yeah, I just haven't. It's all been inbound, pretty much.
Which is an incredible testament to you. I've always admired you, Ed, as someone that's very passionate and authentic and has a voice about particularly franchising and that arguably is like one of the hardest challenges, isn't it? Bringing business in and getting it inbound so you don't have to do much outbound. Like that's incredible. But I have a question, if I may.
Go on then.
When we're thinking about this big question of like knowing when to stop and start, push and pull, realign, how do you think the franchise environment helps with that?
From whose perspective?
I suppose from the franchisee's perspective.
From the franchisee's perspective.
And I say that because as a franchisor, my purpose is to support my franchisees. So my take would be, you know, very different, but I'm interested in your perspective, working from lots of franchises, your knowledge of franchising, the work you do with franchisors. Actually, what does the franchise structure, broadly speaking, how does that help a franchisee with these kind of stop and starts, push and pulls, accountability?
So that's how long's a piece of string question, because it depends on the brand. Like, it depends on
Yeah.
the brand, because I know some that will generate leads for their franchisees, and they can't just sit back and do nothing. They've got to deliver for those clients, so they're almost forced into just getting up and going with it. But then there's other brands where it's more weighted towards the franchisee developing business themselves or generating sales themselves. And so from day one, they've been shown how to do it, but they've got to get off the backside and do it.
Yeah.
And then again, there's another setup where some franchisees, they're like the latter of what I mentioned there, but they'll have somebody doing accountability with them, a business coach or franchise manager, whatever they call it, territory manager. Sometimes there's somebody there to kick them along. Other times there's not. I think the biggest challenge for a franchisee is this weird dichotomy of them being a business owner, but also it's not their business. They're kind of borrowing the business. They're not, but you know what I mean. It's the franchisor has guidelines and frameworks and tells them how to do things, and if they don't, there can be repercussions in certain franchise agreements. But also, they can't be told what to do with their life. They're a business owner. It's their own thing. So yeah, I think it could be challenging. So before I started this, I obviously was involved in the franchising world and was like, getting a franchise might be a good thing for me. The problem is I didn't find the right brand. I kept on finding brands that I wanted to change. I wanted to, their marketing messages, I was like, yeah, I want to do that differently. I want a different logo. I don't like the colours of this brand. I might like the kind of some of the things that they did, but I wanted to change so much about it. I was like, yeah, I don't think I'm the right person to be a franchisee at this point in time. You then get into starting your own business, and then you sit there and I get decision fatigue a lot because you have to make all the decisions for your business, for yourself. There's no one else really there who's going to make that decision for you. So that then becomes a completely different challenge. And I was looking at franchise brands that I was working with going, God, I'd love to be part of their network, just being told what to do this week and and where to go and what to do. So yeah, I've rambled on a little bit there, but I think that's the biggest challenge for prospective franchisees is look at that environment and does it suit me? Am I somebody who needs kicking up the backside every 5 minutes? Well, they probably need some form of accountability within accountability support within their franchise offering. Am I someone who wants to be a bit more entrepreneurial and just get out there and do a lot of it myself, but with a little bit of support or the right pricing structure in place, the right products in place? You know, there are brands out there that suit that. So yeah, I don't know if that's answered your question at
It
all, but
did. It really did. And to be honest, you probably thought, Susie, that's a really stupid question because every brand is different. Every franchise offering is different. The culture, the ethos, everything is different. Whilst we all sit under the franchise brand model, everyone's different, aren't they? And actually, that's really important to recognise. And also, something came to mind. I think it's come up a couple of times in the conversation today. It's knowing yourself, trusting your gut, knowing how you want to work, right?
yeah. So I can give you a bit of an example on this. So twice in my career, I've changed career. So I've gone from putting up marquees to recruitment into franchise marketing, and it took 3.5 years to do that. But the most important thing that I did the second time was I sat down and wrote all of my core values, what I was good at, what I wasn't good at, what I liked, what I didn't like, and that gave me some direction because, like I said, the decision making fatigue thing, I think I feel a lot. So sitting there going, I hate this, I don't know what to do next. You kind of need to start somewhere, and that's the place to start. And actually, it's so true in all aspects of business and life, I think. So if I think about the franchise or clients that I have, so I'll do a strategy day with them or a couple of hours consulting with them at the front end to help them decide what they should do with their franchise recruitment, sometimes an audit as well. But typically where it all starts is, what are your values for your business? What's the mission? Okay, so who's going to fit into those values and mission, and what's their motivations, fears, strengths, weaknesses? You go through these pieces of work, and it might seem like it's quite fluffy, but what it does is it allows all the following decisions to become a lot easier afterwards because you just refer back to it and go, okay, I like this person personally. This is as a franchisor, reviewing a franchisee, but they don't fit within our model. Perhaps it's a no, or perhaps it's dig a little bit further and make a decision, because it shouldn't just be about getting people in and seeing if it sticks. It should be about, do they fit the overall mission? Are they going to pull in the same direction on the rope as everybody else in the tug of war team,
Oh, I couldn't agree more, and I could not agree more. It is about that right fit and that right connection and that right direction. And I find the dynamic of the franchise environment so fascinating. You mentioned it earlier, that kind of autonomy, business owner, very entrepreneurial, but you're operating within whatever the frameworks are of that particular franchise that you've felt compelled and aligned to. I've always found that really fascinating. Really, really fascinating. The psychology of that, the dynamics of that, like really, really find that interesting. Would you agree, Ed, or do you think it's just, what's your take?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It just seems like everyday business to me. A lot of it because I'm speaking about it all the time, you know. So,
Yeah.
but when I put myself into that position and think about how I would interact and act, yeah, that I find interesting because um, I never thought I'd be a good franchisee. I think now, having started a business, I feel like I would be. And I've got probably one or two franchises that I've looked at that I've worked with. I'd go, actually, I think I could work with them. But I wondered if you've got a franchise that you've seen and gone, actually, I'd quite like to do that. Something that's completely different to what you're doing today. Is there anything that kind of makes you go, that looks exciting?
Confession. I have, because Paul and I mean, bearing in mind that I'm very shiny magpie, new ideas. Paul and I, and Paul's my husband, business partner. We very often have, oh, that'd make a good business like conversations. It's very common. We did see a little while ago laser tag,
Okay, yeah.
and we were like, oh, we could do that. We're both geeks. We love our son loves laser tag. I was like, we could do that. It wasn't more than a fleeting conversation, but that was something I was like, oh. And again, having my experience within as building and growing a franchise is like it's a no-brainer to me now. So we did look at that.
Yeah, nice. Nice.
Not in detail,
I
but
wouldn't have put you down as a laser tag person, but yeah, sure. Like, yeah, it's cool, isn't
there we go. I'm very competitive, Ed. I'm not very good, but
it?
I'm very competitive.
For me, as long as I had a holiday with laser tag and arcades, I was well happy when I was a kid. So yeah, it's my thing
Yeah.
as well.
Well, this is a new thing. I remember my son's birthday party a few years ago. He wanted to go to laser tag. We were like, great. They'd got the whole place to themselves just by accident. So they let the grown-ups play as well. So we had kids versus grown-ups. It was incredible.
Nice.
And yeah, I think it hit my competitive streak. Probably a little bit unhelpfully, but there we go. So there we go. Every day's a school day. And I'm going to bring us to a close because energy, time, focus, it's all such precious things, isn't it? And Ed, I'm grateful that so grateful you've been here to chat with me today. And I'm grateful to those joining us and listening in and watching this conversation as well. So what do we think a parting thought is going to be here, Ed? Let's
Right.
leave
I know you had the
something.
big question, don't you? But
Let's
I've
leave
just
something other than the thought of me running around a laser tag arena, shooting children like with guns. No, let's
uh,
move
uh,
it to something more inspirational.
and okay, I can give you like a little thing that I'd say to people that are potentially interested in a franchise. So I used to do a lot of the calls back in the day as well. I was doing 40 discovery meetings a month with people internationally. And the same thing's true no matter where you are and what you're doing. It's do something that lights you up and then find evidence to make sure it's worth it. Like that's basically it at the end of the day. And part of that evidence should be, are the people you're going to work with people that you can go into laser tag with, into battle with, right? because you're going to hit challenges, but if you find the right people to face those challenges with, you can overcome anything.
Wow. I have got nothing to add. That I put you on the spot, Ed, and that was just so poignant and so eloquent. Do things that light you up and find evidence. That's the key thing, isn't it? As well.
Yeah, find
Eh,
evidence that it makes sense, it works. There's no point in chasing, I don't know, the latest fad of the day and it not working out. You need a bit of evidence to make sure it's the right thing for you, and part of that evidence should be, are the right people going to be around you.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Ed, and thank you to you for being here as well. I've been Susie Sanders. I'm probably going to go and book laser tag now. It's come up in conversation. I've got an itch. Thank you for being here. And I will be back with another episode and a very purposeful entrepreneurial conversation soon.